Learn English through Stories. Adapted and modified by Kulwant Singh Sandhu. Contents. 1. Importance of library. 2. Illness and medicine. 3. Two prisoners and the snake. 4. Grammar page, present perfect 2. 1. Importance of library. Books are a person's best friend. They give them company in times of happiness as well as in times of distress. They are one of the main sources of knowledge. The best place for easy access to books is a library. A library is a place where not only books, but also magazines, journals, and newspapers are well stocked for the benefit of the readers. One can also get the atlas, encyclopedia, etc., to know the minute details of almost everything under the sun. A library is a treasure house of knowledge. It helps the spread of education. A reader can either read in the library or borrow the books of his choice and take them home. The library has a popular and indispensable place in the academic world. A well-stocked library is an asset to a school, a college, or a university. There are also neighborhood libraries and district libraries which benefit the readers of the area. A student or a reader can increase their knowledge of various subjects by reading in the library during their spare time. One can update one's knowledge by reading regularly in a library. A library needs a good librarian who should be well qualified in library science. Such a person can manage and maintain the books properly and also guide the students to select suitable books. He should be cheerful and cooperative. He should interact well with the readers so that they can easily get the books they want when they consult the librarian. Thus, the guidance of the librarian saves a lot of time for the readers. A good librarian welcomes suggestions from readers for the improvement of the library. He purchases new books taking into consideration the needs of the regular readers as well as the trends of popular choice. Normally, a library is housed in a very spacious hall, but small libraries also function in small towns and villages. The furniture inside the library should be comfortable, neat, and clean. Students or readers should maintain strict discipline so that others are not disturbed. The atmosphere in a library should be peaceful and scholarly. A library has thousands of books in stock. It has books on various topics, subjects, and events. New books are added from time to time. All the books are kept systematically. They are classified and indexed according to their subjects. The labeling of books helps the reader to locate a particular book without any difficulty. To find out the library number of a particular book, one can take the help of the subject or author index that may be in a log book or in a computer folder. Most libraries keep a book display rack where new arrivals are kept. A library also keeps magazines, periodicals, newspapers, and journals. These are kept on the reading table of the library. The readers can keep themselves equipped with current events and the latest developments in various fields. A reader should handle the books carefully so that no pages are torn and no books are misplaced. He should keep the books at the proper place after reading. The librarian should see that complete silence is maintained in the library. Readers should abide by the library rules. A library issues membership cards to its readers. A reader or a student can borrow a book to take home if he has that card. The books are issued for a limited period. If the reader does not return the book on the due date, he has to pay a fine as per the library rules. If a reader loses a book, he has to replace the lost book with a new one or pay the price of the book. The readers are supposed to keep the books in good condition. The library is a boon for poor students who cannot afford to buy textbooks or other books of their interest. They can borrow these books and read them at ease in the comfort of their homes. A library thus renders a great help to society. So libraries are one of the few places in the world that give even the worst-off people a chance to improve themselves. Most libraries have notice boards. They are used for writing important news of the day. Thought for the day is also written here. Titles of new books added to the library are also displayed on the notice board to inform the students. Many libraries now use electronic display boards for this purpose. Most libraries are open for a limited number of hours. In recent years, the Internet has revolutionized the concept of a library. Information technology now plays an important role in improving library facilities. The Internet makes it possible to deliver information in the shortest possible time. Today, the entire world is linked through the Internet. But this facility is available mostly in urban areas. With the growing popularity of the Internet, which provides loads of information at the click of a mouse, one may pause to think about the potentially decreasing relevance and importance of a library in today's world. But one should keep in mind that a person goes to a library not only to search and get information from books, but also to sit and study there. The peaceful and scholarly atmosphere there rubs off on the reader and helps one to concentrate more on one's work and study. Thus, libraries will always serve a useful purpose. They will always be there to indicate the presence of a well-read and educated society. Vocabulary. 1. Distress, great pain, sorrow, suffering, etc. 2. Treasure house, a place where valuable things are kept. 4. Spacious, having a lot of space. 5. Indexed, alphabetical arrangement of the list of books or topics. 6. Labeling, classifying. 7. Equipped, furnished. 8. Boon, benefit and advantage. 2. Illness and medicine. For the past few days, John has had some difficulty breathing. He was 30 years old, and it was a bit odd for someone of his age to have this symptom. Maybe if he was a smoker, things would make more sense, but John has never smoked a cigarette in his life. He decided to go see his doctor about it. Luckily, he was able to schedule an appointment that very week and get himself checked out. At the doctor's office, there was a considerable waiting period before you could be seen by the physician. John brought a book to read in the waiting room, but he found it hard to focus for very long, given his condition. After 20 minutes, he started to get a splitting headache. In anticipation of such a scenario, he kept over-the-counter pain relievers in his car. Following a quick trip and back, he washed down the pills with water from the water fountain and took a big sigh of relief. The nurse called John back to room 107 and did some routine checkup procedures. She took his blood pressure, measured his height and weight, and asked about his family's history of health problems. John was fortunate enough to not have any hereditary health issues. There was no heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or arthritis to worry about. The nurse also asked about any and all current drugs he was taking, but he replied that he doesn't take any medication. After John's information was recorded, the nurse left the examination room and told him the doctor would be with him shortly. Just 2 minutes later, he was finally face to face with the man who could help cure him in no time. Dr. Smith was his name, and he was as friendly as could be. The two chatted about John's breathing issue, and John went into more detail about his condition. Chest pains were occurring throughout the day, but there were no heart palpitations. There was a little coughing, but no wheezing. The doctor placed his stethoscope on John's chest and asked him to take a couple of deep breaths. With a few subtle nods, it appeared Dr. Smith had reached a final diagnosis. It was asthma. He said it was common for adults to develop asthma, and not just children. An inhaler would immediately curb his symptoms, but it's a medication he would be required to take for the rest of his life to keep his symptoms at bay. Carrying his prescription from Dr. Smith, John headed towards the pharmacy to receive his inhaler. He dropped it off at the customer service desk and then started to wander around the store. It would be some time until his prescription was filled, so he browsed the various medicines on the store's shelves. He saw tons of products to treat colds, allergies, and the flu. There were even over-the-counter treatments for constipation and diarrhea. The pharmacist called out to John, for it was time to pick up his prescription and head back home. While out in his car in the parking lot, John took his first dose and instantly felt much better. It became significantly easier to breathe, and his chest pains subsided. He was grateful for the miracle of modern science and medicine. Throughout the ordeal, it occurred to John how important his health and body were to him. Being in a constant state of bad health would make for a very poor quality of life. His diet would be the first place to start making improvements. Vocabulary. 1. Symptom. Any feeling of illness or physical or mental change that is caused by a particular disease. Over the counter. If a medicine can be bought over the counter, you do not need a prescription to buy it. 3. Wheezing. To make a high, rough noise while breathing because of some breathing difficulty. 4. Stethoscope. A piece of medical equipment that doctors use to listen to your heart and lungs. 5. Inhaler. A small device you use to breathe in particular medicines. 6. Keep something at bay. To prevent someone or something unpleasant from harming you. 3. Two prisoners and the snake. Once some scientist thought of an experiment, and to do that, 2 prisoners were chosen who were sentenced to death. When prisoners were prepared to be bought for punishment, they were told that they will not be killed by hanging, but will be killed by the bite of a poisonous snake. After that, the first prisoner was brought into the cell, and then he was tied to a chair with his eyes closed, and then a snake was released in the cell. In no time, the prisoner was bitten by that poisonous snake and died in agony. The second prisoner was watching all this happening in front of him. After this, the second prisoner was brought into the cell and was tied to a chair, and a black bandage was tied over his eyes. This time, no snake was brought to the cell, but instead, he was pricked by 2 pins. Even this time, result was the same. The second prisoner died in a few seconds like the first prisoner. Scientists were surprised to see that. They bought the body of the second prisoner for post-mortem, and it was found that the second prisoner's body also had poison similar to snake venom, as was in the first prisoner's body. Now study was conducted on how this poison was developed that took the life of the second prisoner. It was found that poison was produced by his own body in shock. From this experiment we can learn that one should be positive in every situation. Because if negative energy is generated, then it produces hormones in our body accordingly, and the root cause of 75% of diseases is the energy generated by negative thinking. In today's world, human beings are destroying themselves with their negative thinking. Therefore, remember to always keep your thinking positive. 3. Grammar page.